What's going on, everybody? This is episode 27 of the NERDcast. I'm Lee, and I'm joined, as usual, by Will.
Hello.
And Danny.
Hello.
And so what have you guys been up to lately? I know Danny, you've been working on stuff for your school and junk. Anything interesting?
Which is what I'm currently working on right now.
Yes. He's always working on something. He's not devoting his full attention to the NERDcast, so...
In my defense, this is all entirely due to procrastination.
Isn't everything anybody's ever done due to procrastination?
Yes.
But,
Even lunch is procrastination. I'm hungry. I'm going to eat food now.
Actually, in my defense, the essay I'm writing as well, that is not due till tomorrow night, yet I'm pretty much done. I did not procrastinate. I did not procrastinate as much as I usually do.
Because some
I
people
did
would
get
argue
it, like,
that.
instead of working on it the day of, I worked on it 5 days before. I am proud of what I've done.
Yeah.
I take pride in that. Don't take that away from me. Don't take my pride away from me. Or don't take what's left of it away.
Yeah, I was going to say.
But I think that since we've talked about technology and space and other stuff in the last few, we've decided that we'd go back to talking about video games. So,
video game.
Since there's not really anything huge newsworthy going on right now, we thought we'd just kind of talk about what games we're looking forward to and just what news there is involving them and such. So, just to list off what games you guys are looking forward to before we get into a discussion about them. Will, what games are you looking forward to?
The ones I'm really looking forward to are probably Pikmin 3 and the Pokemon game, at least for this year. Looking forward to when it comes out, but apart from that, none of the games I'm really looking forward to actually have been announced yet.
We know they exist, they're just not telling us.
Exactly. I want my new Super Smash Bros. No, wait till E3. I want my Mario game. Wait till E3. Stupid E3. Oh, I like E3. End rant.
What about you, Danny? Just off the top of your head.
South Park, however, that should be out by now, actually, but it's not. They delayed it. The Last of Us, Pokemon X and Y, that's all for this year. Next year, however, this is my prediction that The Last Guardian will now be his fourth title and be released in 2025. Sooner than what we thought it would be, but you know what? You got to pick your battles. Other than that, really nothing much. I would say Lightning Returns Final Fantasy 13, but if I said that would mean I would be admitting that I had any enjoyment out of Final Fantasy 13, which I really did not have as much enjoyment as I expected. It was a good game. It was good. But on the scale of Final Fantasy, it was shit. And rant, I guess.
On the scale of 1 chocobo to 10 chocobos, it was...
It was a Moogle.
From 1 chocobo mauling to 10 chocobo maulings.
Is there ever a moment in Final Fantasy history where a chocobo mauled someone?
Yes.
With malicious intent, not just... like...
Wait, you mean like maul just in an NPC or my character?
Anyone.
Okay, well, in Final Fantasy 12, there were some chocobos that were actually enemies. They were...
Rogue chocobos.
Well, they were different colors. Like there was a red chocobo, a black chocobo. You could also fight yellow chocobos. But I was walking and like training in one area, and then just 4 chocobos come out of nowhere and just start like destroying me. And I'm looking at their level, and they're like high level too. I'm like, they're a fucking bird. What is going on? And then there was the only time in my entire history of playing a Final Fantasy game that I had been killed by chocobos.
See, I always thought that just from the passing things I've heard about the game, it's just... they were just some sort of cutesy thing that they added in and raced on occasion.
Oh, no. You can do that. In Final Fantasy VII, for example, what happens is they don't attack you unless you attack them. What happens is that when you enter a battle with them, they will run away the very next turn they get, unless you throw like some Gishel Greens down, which is like a plant that they eat. You throw them down, then they'll be distracted, and then if you destroy all the other enemies on the field, you'll be able to ride that chocobo. However, if you accidentally hit said chocobo, they just don't give a shit. they will hit you back, and sometimes it hurts. I remember when I was playing 7 for, I think it was, I remember this fondly because it was like my first time playing it. I had the ability to cast any magic, or I had the ability to cast the fire spell on everyone on the field, because there was like a special ability where it can spread out to everybody. So I was like, you know what, I'm gonna get rid of everyone here and then get that chocobo. So then I cast fire and hit everyone, including the chocobo, and I had to run away because I was almost dead.
I did not think that one through.
Oh, this is what happened.
Another thing about it, chocobo is one of those words where if you say it enough times, it starts to sound even weirder. Chocobo.
No, that's Moogle.
Chocobo. Moogle.
What is a Moogle?
Moogle.
Moogles are these little tiny white teddy bear style things. They have they have like an antenna with like a red ball on the top.
Moogle.
They were absent, or no, they played a pivotal role in 9. In fact, one of the summons was a Moogle that turned out to be just a huge-ass monster that you could summon.
Moogle.
It's pretty cool.
People wonder why this series is going downhill.
No. It actually fit the story quite well. In 12, they were badass because there was one Moogle who was basically the monster-catching master. I'm like, you're a freaking Moogle.
It's like this gritty Marine veteran Moogle with an eye patch and a badass mustache.
In 13.2, one of them, your companion was named Mog, and that Moogle was the most annoying character in the entire series. It is ridiculous how annoying she was, or he. I don't know the gender. Gender, actually. But in 9, they were actually really pivotal because the save points in the game were all the Moogles that were around the game map. In fact, you were given at the beginning of the game something called a Moogle flute. So when you're in the world map, you can start playing the flute, and then a Moogle will just run towards you on the world map, and you can save your game at any point on the map. But let's keep in mind, if any of you have seen the world map in any Final Fantasy game, it's like a huge top-down thing where you can see mountains in the distance. What I loved doing was playing that flute and just watching a Moogle run over a mountain and down the mountain and run towards you, run across the sea. I'm just like, this is the greatest thing ever.
You sound some sort of omnipotent, like, creatures that...
They're actually cool. I haven't played much before 7. I played 4, 5, 6, and part of 2. They weren't really in 7 a lot. There was a summon in 7. Actually, no, this is good. The first summon you get in 7 was Chocomog, which was a Moogle riding a chocobo. And whenever you summon
Death Destroyer of Worlds.
Whenever you would summon Chocomog, there was an off chance where it would, instead of summoning Chocomog, you would summon Fat Chocobo, which was just a huge, massive, like, screen covering chocobo that would just fall down on the enemies and kill them. In 8, I don't really remember where you would find Moogles.
I, for one, welcome our new Moogle overlords.
Moogles are cool.
They should make the next one, well, because I know they've already announced what 14 is going to be, so for Final Fantasy 15, you should play as a Moogle.
Hopefully. Actually, in a 9, back to 9, that was the game where they played the biggest role, like I was saying. There were 3 different types of Moogles, or no, there was your standard Moogles all over the game world. Then there was one Moogle called Stiltskin, who was like a mail messenger. No. He was he would just show up in random parts of the game, like, and he would just sell you items. And there's a point near the end of the 3rd disc where you're transported to a different world. And he's there. And what he says when you talk to him is like, you know what? I don't know how, but I just ended up here randomly. I'm just here. I want to buy something.
I put the 3rd disc in and I came here. So.
Pretty much, yeah.
But
and there's another one named Artemishan who is the mail Moogle, because there's a whole mail service in 9 where it's called Mognet, where one Moogle will give you a letter and you have to deliver it to another Moogle, and you don't think it matters, but in the end, it actually does. and there's a hidden area in the game that is the entire mail system of the entire game. I found this place. I'm like, what? There must have been they must have given this job to like 4 or 5 programmers and designers and just say, do whatever the hell you want.
But yeah, so
there's no sort of creativity in the game.
Games I'm looking forward to most, definitely at the top of my list, is Grand Theft Auto 5.
Oh,
no
shocking.
question.
No.
I'm shocked.
I did not see
Everything
that
I'm hearing
coming.
about this game, well, at first I was like, when I heard it existed, I pre-ordered it. So, everything I've heard about it from then on out is just, it's made me want to play more and more and more. But, so that's number 1 on the list. But, I'm also looking forward to The Last of Us. That's another game that looks better and better the more I hear about it. But, what else was it? I wanted to play, Beyond Two Souls. I look good too, although, I think that, I don't really think at this point, the only one I've played from Quantic Dream was, Heavy Rain. I was thinking about trying to get, Indigo Prophecy and play that. But, I don't really see at this point how they can screw it up, but I'm still kind of hesitant because I've seen some things that make me think that it's not going to play as well as Heavy Rain, but I don't know. It's yet to be determined. So, the biggest thing I'm concerned about is that they were showing like a tech demo kind of thing, and just they showed a scene how it would work, and it was basically kind of like Heavy Rain, except that you didn't get the prompts on the screen for what button to press. Did you ever see that?
No.
No.
Because you played a bit of Heavy Rain, didn't you, Danny?
Yeah, I played a bit of it.
And so you kind of got the gist of what the game was about, right? It was kind of like quick time events and such. But this one is going to be the quick time events based, but you have to guess what to do. It's not going to tell you, and you can do different things depending on how you do things and such. I think it's going to be
That just sounds overly difficult.
I think it's going to be a broad thing where they introduce it to you, kind of like the tutorial of. Did you do the part where you had to set up for the birthday party or no?
Yes, I did. Yes, that was. Let's just not talk about that part, okay?
How many times did you slam the plates on the table?
It happened a few times, yes.
Because that's what I did. It was like, stop slamming the plates. I was like, shut up! I'm trying not to.
There was a point where I wanted to go outside, and my wife was like, you have to finish setting up. I'm like, no, it's a beautiful day out.
A birthday can wait.
Our sun doesn't matter.
my oxygen intake.
But yeah, so basically what I think they're going to do is they're going to say, like, okay, in a certain situation like this, when it's movement based, you're only going to be using the joystick, or when it's something like this, you're only going to be using that. So then, because what they showed was like a fight scene, and it was like if you pressed up, you could like block up and block down and stuff like that. So this one, it wasn't going to tell you which direction to do it. You just kind of had to do it.
Yeah.
So, I think that's on paper it seems like it'd be better, but I don't know. It's something you're definitely gonna have to wait to see to play yourself to see how it works. So, I'm a bit hesitant to say that I'm as excited as everything else for it, but I'm sure the story will be good. So.
Well, yeah. Yeah, I'll have to finish Heavy Rain first.
Yes, you should.
And The Walking Dead.
Yes,
I finished The Walking Dead.
I don't think you can do both of those back to back because it'll just be so many feels. You'll just be overwhelmed.
Yeah.
So
No, that's on my list. The Walking Dead is the first game I'm playing when I'm done school. Like, I'm gonna come home, parents are gonna be like, Danny, you done? I'm like, yep, what are you gonna do now? I'm gonna go play The Walking Dead and not give two flying shits anymore about life.
I'm
want
going
you
to
to do one
Disneyland.
One sitting, Danny.
It's not that
I will. No, it's not. I did chapters 1 and 2, I believe, in one sitting. Lee, have you played Journey yet?
No, I haven't.
Play Journey.
Lee, you should probably play Journey, right?
It's fun. It's a good game.
I was thinking of starting to plan out old games that I need to play.
You should play Journey first.
Because
I remember at the
what?
I think it was at the DICE Awards this year where Journey won Game of the Year. And someone tweeted, I forget who it was, like, man, I feel really bad for the AAA game industry this year.
Yeah, I read a thing a little while ago that was talking about like just how so many indie games are getting recognized for different things and stuff like that, and how it's basically just indie games are stealing the spotlight from all these other games right now.
Yeah.
So
Which I can't really complain about.
oh well, it's good because they're relatively cheap games. You get like very unique play styles, especially from somebody like Journey or something like that. One of my favorites that I played recently was Hotline Miami, and that was awesome. Story was great. Gameplay was awesome. It's just you guys should play that. You should play Hotline Miami. It's
Have you guys heard about the game Evoland?
no.
Danny, this one you might enjoy. Basically, I think it was made for that 48-hour game competition.
Okay.
It starts out as like a traditional, like completely old school Legend of Zelda style top-down, two-dimensional adventure game. And then instead of unlocking like new items, you unlock upgrades for the game itself. So like one of the first things you unlock is 8-bit color, and like 16-bit color, and then sound, and then free movement, and then Final Fantasy style battles and stuff. And it just looks
What?
really.
That's so cool.
And then eventually the game turns into like a full out 3D adventure game.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's pretty cool.
I
Holy
think
crap.
you guys should check it out. It looks pretty cool.
I've heard things about what's it called? Was it Guacamelee, I think?
Yep.
I've heard things about
College
that,
speak
yeah.
that.
I've heard good things about that, so that's definitely another game I'm gonna have to look into.
Guacamelee.
Yeah. I don't know what it's
Oh
about.
wait, one game that I forgot to mention that's already out is BioShock Infinite.
Well, I still have to play BioShock 1 and 2 in order to get up to there. But I've been trying to play BioShock 1 and I just can't get into it.
I have
don't-
never
I-
played a BioShock
I
game.
don't know what it is. Well, neither had I up until this point, right? And I was just like, I don't know if it's maybe I'm like, if it's at that point where, because I've had other games like this where I play and then I'm like, okay, it's all right, and then I put it down and then I come back later and then I play a little bit past that and I'm like, okay, why did I stop playing? Because this part is awesome, right? And then I get hooked. So I don't know if I just haven't reached that point yet, or if I actually don't like it, like I am. I'm not sure. I have to give it another try though.
No, the problem with the first-person shooters in general for me is that I can't play a first-person shooter anymore. I can't get hooked on one. I don't know if that's just me, but Call of Duty kind of ruined it for me.
I don't think it's that like for me. Like I can still play a first-person shooter, no problem. Like I play PlanetSide and I love it, but it's also like one of the first-person shooters I played on PC, so that's another thing. But I mean, even in general on a console, it doesn't really bother me. I don't think other games can ruin one game. I don't think one game can ruin another game for me. I don't.
No.
I've just played too many first-person shooters. Like I played Call of Duty,
There's a lot of them.
I played Killzone, played Resistance, I played a whole bunch of them, and I just needed a break.
I've barely ever played any first-person shooters.
That's actually the problem with games in general for me. I played so much over the past year and a half that for the past 6 months, I haven't really had the desire to play much except for Mass Effect with you two, and then PlanetSide with you and Dave.
That's
Well,
why
and
I
Journey.
think that might be part of why you enjoyed Journey so much.
It was different. That's
And
what I enjoyed about Journey. It was different.
right now, it seems like we're going through just a lull of not really many big games. I guess BioShock Infinite was one of the biggest one that's came out in the last how many months, right?
Yeah.
Like, what was the last
Probably
game
since-
before that? I can't even think of
Borderlands?
one, right?
Tomb Raider.
No, Borderlands 2 was a long time ago. Oh, Tomb Raider 2.
Yeah. Yeah.
I would say Tomb Raider was the biggest one, but no, Tomb Raider is like, this is the problem with games in general recently. They all latch on to one successful like title from like 2 years ago, and they copy the formula. Like every first-person shooter now, or like they all have it's a similar formula to what Call of Duty 4 had. But granted, there have been a lot of like better ones now. Like PlanetSide has added whatever they wanted. That's why PlanetSide is fresh, and that's why PlanetSide is a good game. But apparently, Tomb Raider is just similar to Uncharted. I haven't played it, so I could very well be wrong.
Yeah, and it seems that there are a lot of it seems like the third-person genre has moved up into the ranks of like the first-person shooter genre. It just seems like there's a lot of games out like that. And
Yeah.
I don't know. I guess it's been up there. Like, I don't even know what the first third-person shooter was, right? Like, they're what people say is
The first third-person shooter was Kill Switch, or the one that had like the cover system that every third-person shooter game needs to have now. Because I know that there was Kill Switch, which was good, but then Gears of War came out and made it popular. And then you had games like Uncharted, which had their cover system, and then first-person shooter games started putting in the cover system. Like Killzone 2 had the cover system in it. It's just, I brought this up to YouTube, but like later on we're going to have a discussion on like trends of this generation, and so we're going to leave that for later. But this is just like a little preview of it. That will probably be something I talk about.
But also, I was gonna say, one of the biggest or the most popular games that was set third person was definitely, at least for the PS2 generation of Grand Theft Auto, right? Like Grand Theft Auto 3, Vice City, San Andreas, and even the new ones, they're all third person. And I think that they set apart from other third person games. Like, yeah, they are
like
third
Grand Theft
person.
Auto?
Yeah, they are third person, but it's Grand Theft Auto is distinctly Grand Theft Auto. You can't really say that.
You can tell what it is. That's what you're going for.
It's like Assassin's Creed.
Yeah, but I also don't think that any other game you could say that it steals from Grand Theft Auto. Like, I guess, well, you could say Saints Row, but that's a different story. But I give it a pass just because it was hilarious. So but I mean, like, just Uncharted or Gears of War or something like that. Like, I don't think that you could say that in terms of genre, the third person aspect, I don't really think that you could say one takes from the other as much, other than the fact that they're set in third person. So,
or I would say Uncharted's more of an adventure game.
Yeah.
It has an adventure game with third person capabilities. Like Gears of War, it's like run, snap to cover, fire.
I think that
Uncharted, it's run, find treasure.
Yes. Find treasure, invade a secret area that hasn't been seen by human eye in a million years, but somehow the bad guys are there first. And
you forget.
Let's go into this tomb that no one's explored. Oh no, bad guys. Mercenaries. So, we're giant glowy ape monsters.
Did we ever resolve that problem with you two and Uncharted multiplayer?
Well, I heard a while ago that they were talking about how Uncharted 3 was like you have to pay a monthly subscription.
No, I don't remember that.
I don't know if maybe it was implemented a while later.
I think you can do that now, but no, it worked is when it was released, you had to input a PlayStation Pass. And I've never put in a PlayStation Pass before. You want to play the beta of Uncharted 3. Because that was just like... Because I think we bought Resistance 3, was it? Like, we both bought Resistance 3. And that came with the beta code for it. Or some game that we bought came with the beta code for Uncharted 3.
And Uncharted 2 had multiplayer, didn't it?
Yeah, and we actually played Uncharted 2 multiplayer. Because I remember... There was a guy that there was one round where we were playing, and the guy's name was Untamable, and he just kept killing you over and over again, and you kept getting increasingly frustrated. It's not as good as our Resistance 2 story with a certain character that I don't think you're going to want to talk about.
The Legacy?
The Legacy, yep. Will, have we told you the story?
I don't believe so, no.
Okay, it was just like...
Well, Resistance, was it Resistance 2 or Resistance 3 that happened?
2, it was 2, because Resistance 2 had the 8-player co-op mode.
Yes, that's right.
But what happened was, we were playing Resistance 2, and we were playing the co-op mode, and remember what the word co-op means. You're working together on the same team. So, we are playing right now, and then there's this guy on our team, his name is The Legacy. And we didn't think anything of it. But then Lee died randomly.
He was just some anonymous player up until that point.
Yep, and so he comes up and he starts teabagging us. He starts teabagging us when we die. And we're just like, what is this guy doing? Why isn't he reviving us?
But
couldn't we actually get revived in that game? I'm pretty sure
I believe so. But the important part of the story wasn't that he was teabagging us. It was bad, and of course I think other people have done it at some point in the time that we played
I think I know what you're about to say, and I'm going to laugh if you say it.
But to the degree that he went to do this,
he went out of his way to teabag us.
well, consider the fact that most of the time when you're dying, it's because you get ganged up on, or you did something stupid and you ran out into the open, right? So now he's running out in the open, doing the same stupid thing you did on purpose to teabag your corpse.
But what made it better was afterwards we saw him die, so then Lee and I ran towards his body.
And then I'm pretty sure we let our mics light up and we were just yelling at him.
This is what you get for playing with us.
But yeah, it's also experiences like that are also part of the reason why I don't play Mass Effect with people that I don't know, just going to random matches, just because co-op matches with people you don't know is just stupid to me.
I've given up on doing those. I've unlocked everything I need. I just play with you guys now.
It just... I've never really found a game that the co-op is decent in. I guess PlanetSide 2 is the closest, because you have to play with teammates in order to do that.
Yeah, but then it's like you, Dave, and myself, and we're in a squad, and we can coordinate, so...
And people are dumb, but for the most part, people aren't. The community's actually pretty good for PlanetSide 2, I will say.
Yeah.
There's not too many asshats. There's the occasional guy that'll stand on the vehicle spawn platform and get run over by Sunders and stuff, but that's your own fault. It's not inhibiting anyone. But yeah, I think that... Well, I want to talk about Grand Theft Auto 5 first. Because I don't know if you guys have been seeing the things that they've come out. I think they're up to like, I don't know how many screenshots. They had a while where they released like a screenshot a day for like a period of 2 weeks or something like that.
I remember that.
And they had a little while ago, they released another bunch of screenshots. So there's probably up to like 40 or 50. And I think that, it seems that they're the only game that does this. That like they're the game company that will release screenshots or release little tidbits as it goes along more frequently than any other game company, to my knowledge. So I think that's pretty cool that they just do stuff like that and release. And think about when they released the first trailer. It was a year ago.
Yeah.
I remember I couldn't even watch it because there were so many people online. There were so many people trying to watch this trailer on Rockstar's site, I couldn't even access it. And it wasn't at my house. I was at school with half-decent internet.
Your internet's better than my school's internet, that's for sure.
When it works, it is. That's the key point. But yeah, and they've just... Well, the biggest thing that they're implementing in Grand Theft Auto 5 is definitely the three-person protagonist that you play. So, and I think that's interesting. And I think it's either going to be the breath of fresh air that the series needs in terms of, well, there's always been a balance of, especially now with the story, it didn't make sense to have Nico just running around bombing people when the whole story is about him, like, kind of lamenting his past and how he wanted to not live the life of being, like, a killer anymore, right? Or being like, he was trying to get out of that life and trying to be a decent human being. So then it didn't make sense when all of a sudden I go on this huge 6-star rampage and murder everyone in sight. And just start throwing Molotov cocktails and stuff at people, right?
But that's the fun part.
It is just to do every once in a while. There are a lot of people that want to do that. And so I think that now they have the three protagonists, they have one that's kind of the serious one that's like story-driven, right? And that's Trevor. And then they have the one that's insane, and the one that you can kind of rationalize doing something like that with, which is Trevor. And so I think that that's a good dynamic. You can have somebody, like, it's different styles that they have. So you can have, like, one guy who's, like, the bank robber, professional hitman sort of deal, right? And you can do, like, the cool things of that and have it fit with his character. You can have one that's just an absolutely psychotic maniac and just blow things up and run people over and stuff. And you have the other guy, Franklin, who is just the gangbanger, so you can do like drive-bys and stuff like that. And of course you can do that with all the other characters, but it fits better with how the story runs. And I think that's a better rationalization for how that's working. So that's the part I'm looking forward to most, is just seeing how the relationship and how the gameplay is changed between each character that you play as. So, and there's also the travel aspect.
Yeah, that sounds like a really interesting way to tackle the game to me, actually.
And considering that Grand Theft Auto is trying to take more of a story-driven aspect with Grand Theft Auto 4, and a lot of people, I wouldn't say a lot, but there was a vocal area that wasn't a big fan of how it played. And I will admit the driving was a little bit, it's a step towards more realistic, but it was definitely not as good as the older ones. Like, it was more difficult to catch on to. So, but and from what I've heard, they're trying to make it even better. And the people that have tested it are saying that the shooting aspect could be a game on its own in terms of how tuned it is, and the driving aspect could be rivals driving games with how good it is now.
Holy crap, are you serious?
Yeah.
Wow.
That's pretty cool.
That's from what I've read from some people who have tested or had early access to it. So, but and another interesting thing, I think it was either today or yesterday or a few days ago, but one of the Hauser brothers, who are basically in charge of it, kind of hinted at the fact that one of the characters you play is actually also the antagonist. So
really?
Yeah, so it's going to be like...
Oh, they're pulling a Star Wars and that's the Old Republic here.
The dynamic is sort of like there's going to be like a huge inner battle, which you kind of saw, right? And you can kind of get that it's already going to be Michael, because he's the one that's dragging the other two back into the life just because he has to do it, right? And he's kind of using them. So, and considering the other two people aren't really leaders per se, and they wouldn't really do this on their own, considering one's a maniac and the other one's trying to get out of like the gangster life kind of thing. So it's going to be very, very interesting, I think.
Mm-hmm.
I might end up playing it. Never played 4, but I might end up playing it.
I'm assuming we won't hear from you for probably about a month when it comes out, right?
I'm going to play the shit out of that game.
That's what I thought.
And I said...
NERDcast will be on hiatus for that time, people.
I'm definitely going to have to get somebody to talk to about that and do a Grand Theft Auto spoiler cast. So, but what was I going to say? I think that... Oh, I said I was going to have to do 3 playthroughs. Well, I'd have to do 4 playthroughs, I guess. One where I just play through it as I normally would and kind of switch between characters just because I can, or do something cool, right? And then I have to do one where I play through as each of the characters. So, like, anytime I have the option to switch between them, I always play one character through the entire thing and see their perspective.
Mm-hmm.
So, I think that I have... And I don't know what it is, and it's the same problem that I'm having with Mass Effect now, is that I want to see everything. Every little minute scene change. I want to play the game and see every single option that I have. And I think I have Fallout 3 to blame for that. Just because Fallout 3, I did do that. I did see everything. I did everything possible that I could. Like, I played through the game and the different karmas, I got every area, unlocked it. Like, I did that game 100%. So, I think
it's no small feat.
And
listeners, it's true. He actually did.
I played.
It was pretty ridiculous what he did.
But yeah, and so I think that from then on out, where I wanted to see the entire area, like see. I guess it's good in terms of getting my money back, because then I play the game to death, right?
Yeah, you should love Skyrim then.
Well, I've been playing Skyrim, and I'm not a big fan of it. Just because I don't... It comes back to that I'm not a big fan of the fantasy genre. I just can't get into it.
You would love Final Fantasy.
I don't like fantasy. Like, I like sci-fi.
Then you would not love Final Fantasy.
A futuristic, like, Mass Effect sort of deal, where it's set in the future, or even post-apocalyptic sort of deal, right? That's what I like to play. That's the settings that I like, so. More so than dragons and wizards and magic.
It's so sad, because 13 actually has like a futuristic setting, but it's the shittiest game. That's just shit luck on their part.
I will admit, though, everything I've seen, like, visual-wise of Final Fantasy, the new one, or, like, 13 and Lightning Returns, it looks awesome. It's definitely one of the best-looking games on the market, for sure.
Well, this was the problem with Square Enix that a lot of people pointed out with Final Fantasy 13, was it was undoubtedly, at the time, the greatest-looking game ever. And it wasn't just in terms of, like, how it looked, but it was like certain little details that they put into there that were just mind blowing. But it looks like they spent too much time on that than on the actual gameplay side of it, which is what I heard a game needs.
No.
So, because like basically, 13 was a corridor shooter if you think about it, because there were 13 chapters, of course. There were 13 chapters in the game, and for the first 11 chapters, you're literally going down a straight line path. And it got exhausting. Granted, the only redeeming qualities I will say about that game are the visuals, and there's one boss battle in the game that is one of my favorites in the entire series, and that is saying something.
Definitely some redeeming qualities, then, I guess, right?
Yeah.
But that's it. Other than that, the battle system was okay. But the actual, like, exploration factor, once you hit Chapter 11, it's basically an open world. And then when Chapter 11 ends, you're back to the corridors.
Short-lived freedom.
Pretty much, yeah.
But,
they just didn't play PlanetSide.
What about, you said we haven't really heard anything about Pikmin 3, like... So what have we heard from it?
What we've heard about Pikmin 3 so far is that...
Well, I know we talked about it before, just briefly. Has there been any news since, like, the last time we would have talked about it?
Nothing really. Like, we know that it's coming out in spring 2013 for the Wii U. It's going to have a co-op mode. The battle mode is not going to be online compatible, which is a real shame, because the battle mode's actually fun.
How does that work then? What's it going to be? Just like a local multiplayer, or what's the battle mode?
Yeah, it's just going to be local multiplayer, play with your friends, which is a real shame because they could have done so much with it.
Just to interrupt, I find it kind of funny that there's some games that we beg to have like a local multiplayer. It's like we don't have any local multiplayer for any like first-person shooter anymore, so we can't just have like the.
I'd love to have local multiplayer for Mass Effect.
But then. Oh, that'd be pretty cool.
That would be difficult, though, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
Because you have to split screen?
Yeah.
It'd be cool if you had, like, a co-op playthrough where you're, like, your squad mates are your friends, right?
Yeah.
But anyway, I was saying, so we're begging to have a local multiplayer, and then we have, like, the Pikmin 3 that they've announced that it's only local multiplayer, and it's like, well, it's a real shame we could have had a multiplayer, like, an online portion, right? So, I don't know, I found that kind of weird that it's just so polarizing. It seems like you have to have both in today's day and age, and do them right.
Which is a real shame. But yeah, what else do we know about Pikmin 3?
Hold on, what was the last good local multiplayer game?
I played COD 4 local a lot. Well, first-person shooter-wise, Resistance 1 had a really good local multiplayer one.
Yep, yeah, I will agree with that.
All the Call of Duties do to a degree.
Portal 2. No, but it's not local. It can be local.
Yeah, I guess it would probably be like a racing game or a fighting game, right?
Yeah.
I'd laugh if you said GoldenEye. I'm like, oh, we're going back kind of far there, aren't we?
Sports games too, I guess, still have the local multiplayer.
Yeah, fair enough.
That's true. I played NHL 12 with David, and that kind of got a little bit out of hand.
Have you ever played like NHL? I guess NHL especially because it has like the most options for it. But have you ever played an NHL game with more than just two people, where you have like 4-on-4 or like I guess 2-on-2 or 3-on-3?
Local or
local? Yeah.
Not. No.
Because
GoldenEye was the last one.
I've never even heard of anything like that. I've never even heard of anybody playing that, like, with... Well, I know you can do that with NHL, but I mean, like... I'm talking about NHL.
No, I never did that.
So... But yeah, I'm talking about GoldenEye. That's going way back. That's definitely not the last. Maybe it was the last good one, but it's not the last one for sure. But I don't know. I still think that's like the split screen racing games are the best.
Yeah.
You kind of need a local split screen, but I don't know. I guess Mark would be the authority on this. Did GT5 have a split screen local?
Yeah, it does. Mark and I have played a few times.
Okay.
One of the first times I played GT5, we were racing. I started to beat him, and then somehow the console turned off, and we're not sure how. True story.
Mark's hardwired a panic button in case he's
Losing. Shut it down!
He just runs downstairs and flips the breaker, and then...
Oh, wait a second. I was going to say Mario Kart, but that's a racing game again.
Yeah. But I still think the ultimate, and I guess we can kind of get into this a little bit after if we want to talk about it, but is there any word on how the new Super Smash Brothers will work in terms of local or online multiplayer?
They have said nothing about that game. Unless it's 3DS and Wii U.
That's all that we've heard so far, that we should be able to transfer our characters from the Wii U to the 3DS. Might be 2 versions of the game, one for each console system. Apparently we might be able to customize our characters in this one too.
Really? So it's not just like Pikachu wears a party hat and stuff like that? You actually do other stuff?
From what I understand, but these are just rumors once again.
Can you put your Mii, or your like whatever
I wouldn't be surprised.
You can do that with Mario Kart 3DS or Mario Kart 7.
You can do it with Mario Kart Wii.
Oh, you can? I never had Mario Kart Wii, but no, because when I played Mario Kart 7 online, I used my Mii character, and I'm badass, man.
Just flaming red hair.
oh, kiss my ass.
We're so funny. And all of our jokes are so original.
But, so yeah, well, anything about Pikmin that you want to say?
Nothing really. Apparently, in the single player, we're controlling 4 characters. None of them are from either of the original games, which is a real shame.
So you're not playing as Olimar?
Nope. Yep, no Captain Olimar and no Louie, which is a real shame. It's 4 brand new people, 2 new types of Pikmin that we know about. The rock Pikmin and the flying Pikmin. And then, apparently the Pikmin have better AI this time around, so they're probably not going to wander into puddles and drown themselves.
So, what's the backstory behind Pikmin? Like, how did this come to be?
Like, the in-game story?
Yeah.
Or the actual... Captain Olimar is flying a ship delivering some pick carrots for his home planet. He's a delivery man. Crash lands on a quote-unquote mysterious planet, which is actually Earth, because Captain Olimar is supposed to be about the size of a GameCube memory card.
Is this spoilers?
No, this is how the game starts.
Oh, okay.
But yeah, that's how the game starts. Basically, you have to collect your ship parts and escape the planet in the first game. Second game, your company's in debt. Go back to the planet, collect cool things that are worth a lot of money. Don't know anything about the third game yet, except that the Pikmin probably aren't going to drown themselves.
I guess that's a
Oh,
plus.
well, we hope not.
Which happens sometimes. A lot of the time.
So that's the lore, the lores of the Pikmin?
Silors of the Pikmin.
So what are the Pikmin supposed to be? They're just some sort of mysterious animal?
Yeah, they're little inhabitants of the planet. They come from a little ship thing. Captain Olimar feeds the ship food, makes more Pikmin.
So what's Captain Olimar then? What race is he? Does it ever say?
They don't say what race he is. He's just a very tiny person about the size of a GameCube card.
A very tiny person.
And then it's funny because throughout the course of Pikmin 2, you collect like everyday objects like bottle caps and random things, and they give them really cool names. Like I think you have to collect a barbell at one point, which acquires the strength of 1,000 Pikmin.
What?
Yeah, there's a Pikmin that can carry 10 times its weight, so you need 100 of those. You can only have 100 Pikmin on the field at a time. But when you deliver it to the ship, they give it the name of the Doomsday Apparatus. Yeah. It's a fun game. I like it.
I remember when I first saw like things about it. I was back when I was subscribed to Nintendo Power, so I had to be like 10.
The good days.
How old was it or how old would we have been when it first came out, or what year did it first come out?
Probably around, I think it came out in 2001. Pikmin 2 came out in 2004. It's almost been a decade since the last one.
Because there's Pikmin 3 has definitely been was there like a hiatus, or was it?
No, I just think they never got around to it. They re-released numbers 1 and 2 for the Wii to make the most of the weird pointy thing. And now, hopefully, we'll get to use the gamepad effectively. It's the first real Nintendo game coming out for the Wii U, actually.
Well, one could argue it's also the first real Nintendo game that they've made that's not Mario or Zelda or the classic characters, right?
Yeah, I think that Pikmin should be counted with those guys now. I really think so. I also make a very sick Captain Olimar in Super Smash Bros. Brawl.
I would greatly appreciate a new Star Fox. Thank you very much.
It's never going to happen.
Wasn't the last one? What was the last one that came out for that? Was it the 64 one?
No,
it was a GameCube one that was like a third-person shooter.
Star Fox Assault.
Sounds interesting.
It was a pretty good game. I like the multiplayer on that one.
It kind of reminds me of how when they had like Ratchet Deadlocked,
which was insanely awesome.
It was weird to think of like the game was going to be just like a straight up shooter when considering it's more of an adventure game. And I was like, I don't know how this is going to turn out because the shooting is definitely not like the greatest mechanic of all time in this game, but it was surprisingly awesome, especially like the commentary from the
Dallas and Juanita.
That's right, Juanita. Just every time she said something.
There was one point when he said, "That's right, Juanita," where he spits on the desk and she's still talking and he's slowly trying to like rub it off the desk.
I was thinking of playing through those again, and I want to know if there's going to be. Well, I had All for One, right?
Yeah.
Like that was the most recent one. I want to know if there's going to be another one that comes out after, like a sequel to Back in Time.
The last one wasn't All for One.
What was it?
Oh shoot!
Was it like in the same strain as the other ones?
It was Full Frontal Assault. That's what it was.
So is it like the other ones, like an adventure game sort of deal, or
No, it wasn't as big as the other ones. It was more of like a tower defense style game.
Oh, and it was downloadable only, right?
Yes. I believe you can get a Blu-ray copy in Europe or something. I don't know.
Reminds me of I never played the Quest for Booty.
But yeah, it had the same shooting mechanics as the original ones, where it was like a over the shoulder kind of thing. You could strafe and shoot.
It was a really good game. Did you ever play that, Will?
I don't think so, no.
You never played Ratchet and Clank?
No, I've played a little bit. Played a bit of Crack in Time, I think.
Ratchet and Clank was really good.
Yeah, I enjoyed the little bit that I did play of it. Should play it again sometime.
I'm trying to think of what the best one was.
Going Commando was really good. I remember playing Going Commando, and just that was the first game that started the whole titles, which were insanely awesome sexual innuendos.
It was Ratchet and Clank was the first one, then it was Going Commando, and then it was Up Your Arsenal, yeah. And then
Deadlocked.
Deadlocked wasn't well, yeah, Deadlock, that's
for the PSP, size matters.
Yes. I have that too, I think.
Yeah,
there was also Secret Agent Clank. That wasn't an innuendo.
I never played that one.
It seemed like it would be an interesting idea, but I don't know.
Then there was after that there was Tools of Destruction.
Yeah, that was it was Ratchet and Clank Future, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Like it had
Quest for Booty, and then a Crack in Time.
Quest for Booty. And then I guess if you're stretching, a Crack in Time. If you're
I would just like to point out, All for One was actually a good game.
You played it?
I didn't play it for long, but last year when my girlfriend and I were coming from school, we stopped off at the EB Games there, and they had like a demo set up of All for One, and we played it for like half an hour.
We should see if it's cheap, and we'll all get a copy, and then we'll do it.
Okay, that sounds good.
The ultimate Nerdcast playthrough.
But and we also need a co-op game to play. So listeners, if you're out there and you have a suggestion for a game that we can play that's just a co-op, not really something too serious, definitely
Please
hit
give
us
us
up.
suggestions.
Yes.
Please.
We just need something to replace Mass Effect because we're playing it to death.
Getting old, guys.
We may or may not have been playing that nonstop for the past year and some.
Pretty much.
So let's just throw something else.
Let's just say I have all the characters unlocked completely now.
And how many characters
My main goal
are
was
there?
only to get the Turian Sentinel, which I have now.
There's got to be like 50 characters.
There's... I'll go do math. 7 HQ.
Give me a second. I will do math.
Just continue your talking.
But what have we heard about The Last of Us? We've seen they released it in chunks, just kind of details about it, and
Ellen Page is not the star.
no, that's Beyond Two Souls.
I believe they changed the appearance of Ellie because she looked too much like Ellen Page.
Again?
No, remember like when it was first announced at the VGAs 2 years ago?
Well, when they first announced it, she was supposed to be younger, but then they thought it was creepy. And also the fact that it was like, they want her to not just be like this. Well, I never played any of them, but I hear that one of the Resident Evil ones was just super annoying because you had to make sure that this girl was safe the entire time.
I think that was Resident Evil 4?
I think it might have been that one, but
Which is odd because that's the best one in the entire series from what I've heard. I've never played them, so.
yeah, but but yeah, so they didn't want it to be like that. They wanted her to actually be useful, right? And if she's only like 11, she's not going to be shooting people in the face, that's for sure. So.
You underestimate her powers.
65 characters.
And you have them all? Kiss my ass.
He has them all maxed out.
65.
God damn it. And I was proud of the Turian Sentinel.
I
Holy
think
crap.
I'm missing like 4 or 5 of them.
That is pretty good for this game, considering the multiplayer was just an add-on.
Yeah. It
Damn,
definitely
that's some
grew into
variety.
its own.
That is some variety right there.
Again, another preview for our trend of the generation topic, which will be far into the future. Free DLC.
Yes.
Yeah. Or at least free multiplayer DLC.
Because we're going to talk about DLC a lot in that one. Both good and bad. And
But,
Mass Effect 3 had good DLC.
65.
Have they heard anything about the multiplayer for The Last of Us? Or have they said anything about it that you know of? Because I don't think I've heard anything.
No, if they have, I think IGN had something
Maybe.
about it. I haven't looked at it much.
I can't
haven't
see
had
that
time
they
to
would.
look at it.
Yeah, I can't see that they would let a game without multiplayer through anymore. So.
I feel like it's now just like a checklist.
And it's
Or
kind of
like,
sad.
Yeah, it is because, again, this is a preview of our trend thing. Publishers basically shoehorning in multiplayer because it was successful in one game, or it was successful in a few games. Like, perfect example, BioShock 2. BioShock 1 came out, did not need multiplayer at all, and it was one of the best games of 2007. BioShock 2 comes out, it's like, oh, games had multiplayer. Those games were good. Those games sold a lot. Therefore, multiplayers equal sale. So they shoehorned multiplayer into BioShock 2, and people were like, whatever.
Damn Microsoft and their schemes.
There are 62 guns in the Mass Effect 3 multiplayer.
Shit.
I probably have like 30 of them.
I'm missing 2 of them.
And the ones I do have are maxed out, so I've got them like 6 or 7 times. Or what is
I have
it?
all the rare guns maxed out.
But was there another game that you said you were looking forward to, Will?
Pokemon X and Y.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to
yeah.
Pokemon X and Y just because I want to see what they do. Because we've been screaming at Nintendo, yelling, yelping, burning at the stake Nintendo for a 3D Nintendo or 3D Pokemon game, and now we're finally getting it.
We assumed it would come out on a console.
Yeah, unfortunately it's on the 3DS, but still.
No. I wouldn't say unfortunately.
Yeah, well, I would have preferred it on a console because that would have been awesome, but now we can play together, Danny.
I know.
Yay.
No, like what I was thinking about, like I remember like years ago, I would always say like why wouldn't they put it on a console? Like, come on, like you have like the Wii has sold so many units, it would be an instant cash cow. But whenever you've been playing a Pokemon game, it is the perfect handheld game.
Yeah.
You can just pick it up, play it, and go.
That's what I ended up doing. I think it was on Friday when my power was out from 4 a.m. to 11 a.m. I just picked up my 3DS and started playing my Pokemon Black.
That's basically what I'm going to do, because when I move into my house in 2 weeks, I'm not going to have any PS3 with me, because my brother will absolutely straight up murder me if I take it. Even if I ask, he's going to straight up murder me. So I'm going to bring my 3DS, and I'm just going to finally beat the Elite Four and Soul Silver.
Do you share the Xbox with your brother too?
No, I'm actually taking that. I'm sneaking that out.
But Danny, how will we play Mass Effect?
I'll be home on weekends.
Okay.
And on odd days as well.
Cool.
So,
or I'll just sell all the crap that was in that old roommate's room. Just buy a PS3.
You could probably buy a PS3 from the textbooks.
Yeah, probably. Unless her other housemates haven't sold them yet. So
I think that X and Y is definitely a step in the right direction for getting a full 3D adventure style game. Like, ideally what we would get is like some sort of MMO style.
I feel like that's going to be the next logical step.
I feel like it's leading to that. Everything is leading to that. Because right now, this is their first jump into 3D.
Well, not really. They had Coliseum and XD.
Oh, well, no. This is their first jump in the main games.
Yeah,
like the
main
style
series
games into 3D. So, theoretically, they will come to a point where they really can't do much more.
And there will be a Pokemon MMO coming out.
And Nintendo will say, you know what? We're kind of running low on cash. What will be an instant cash grab?
Let's sell more Wii U's. Who wants Pokemon?
Exactly. This is more... Okay, a Pokemon MMO, I compare that to a remake of Final Fantasy VII. Square Enix is currently not doing well, to put it lightly, and everyone in the entire game industry is saying, you make a remake of Final Fantasy VII, put it on PS3, PS4, Xbox 360, whatever, I don't care. Put it on whatever you want. It's going to make money, and it'll make a lot of money. It'll be an instant million seller, and you guys will be raking in the cash.
Yeah. It seems like they're kind of just hiding it. To me, it seems like they're hiding something, or even everything, considering the state of how the Wii U is right now. But they're hiding certain things up their sleeve, and one day it's just going to be like, sales are starting to decline. And it's like, you've just activated my trap card. And then it's like, the Pokemon MMO.
For everyone. You can go to all of the regions ever.
Oh my god.
That was actually my next question. Can you go to Johto, Kanto, and all the previous regions in the new game?
No.
In X and Y? You can?
Oh, in X and Y? I have no idea what's happening in X and Y. All
Because
that we know so far is that it's 3D. We know 3 starters, 2 legendaries, a new Eevee, and a new Mewtwo form.
And there has
and I still stick by my phrase that Mewtwo form, their awakened explanation is really vague.
Just go read my blog post and you'll find out stuff.
Yeah, I'll have to get on that.
Yeah.
But no, like what? Because the furthest I've gotten, I've only played up till Generation 2, because I really didn't have time for any of the other ones. However, I'm gonna start getting into them now. So Johto and Kanto are the 2 that I've been in. So other than that, I'm not really sure.
I actually have a fun story for you guys that I just thought about a couple days ago. Back in, I believe it was 2001, Pokemon Ruby and Sapphire were released on, I believe it was March 16th. Not totally sure. I was feeling sick that day, quote unquote sick. So my mom took me to Toys R Us to go buy Pokemon Ruby.
Aw, sweetie, you're feeling sick. Let's go to the mall and get you something.
Pretty much. And then I went to Toys R Us, and the lady hadn't even put all the Pokemon games through the thing yet. So I was probably the first kid in the St. Catherine, first kid to get a Pokemon game of Ruby from that Toys R Us. And I was proud.
I gotta say that, well, I've played, I haven't played anything past that generation. I played a bit of, like, Leaf Green, but that's still a remake of the other one.
Yeah.
But, I think that Sapphire is probably my favorite.
They still haven't made a remake of Ruby and Sapphire either yet.
Oh my god, you know how hard I would play that? I would have to buy a 3DS, because it would be on 3DS, so I'd have to buy one.
It's gonna happen. That's what they're gonna do as the bonus one. We're calling it now.
Just take all my money right now, please.
Once again, we need to sell more 3DSs. Here, have Pokemon. It's like Nintendo's solution to everything.
It seemed like
I remember reading somewhere that the creator of Pokemon has a net worth of over $5 billion.
I wouldn't be surprised.
Like that, yeah.
Like, seriously, that is the definition of a cash cow.
Because you got to consider that how popular it is here. It's probably even more popular
It's at
in
least
Japan.
10 times,
It's
least 10
insane in
times
Japan.
more popular.
It's ridiculous. Actually, I've a bunch of my housemates that I'm going to be living with. They say when I'm 80 years old, if my kid or if my grandkid hasn't played Pokemon, oh man,
Well,
they haven't lived.
In Japan, they still get the Pokemon movies in theaters.
And they sell out. They make a lot of money.
We just get it straight to DVD, and it goes into the bargain bin.
When was
Same goes with Dragon Ball Z as well. Too.
When was the last? Well, I heard they were rebooting the Dragon Ball Z series, but that's another thing.
Oh, I think that was the whole rebooting the Dragon Ball Z series was a April Fool's joke, but the actual movie, The Battle of the Gods, was released, and it made a shitload of money in Japan.
But what was the
made a
last
lot of
Pokemon movie that was in theaters?
I think it was the fourth one.
What one was that?
Celebi, Voice of the Forest, Pokemon Forever.
What was there? There was. Oh yeah, right. The last one I saw was the one with. And I saw it in theaters. Was the one with Lugia.
That was the first movie that I ever owned on DVD.
Really?
Yep.
The only Pokemon movie I've ever seen in theaters was the first one with Mewtwo and Mew.
Yeah.
I saw that in theaters, and I got the. Do you have the Ancient Mew card?
Yes, I do.
Oh yeah,
I think I do.
I got the Ancient
still
Mew
in
card.
Still in its packaging.
Really? I took mine out, but I still have it. It's in good condition. And
It's worth something soon.
I remember there was like the only way you could get it, like you could get an actual Mew card was if you went to like an event.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't think there were any events in our area.
No, there never was. Even on their 10th anniversary tour, there wasn't.
But
Shame.
yeah. There's actually like it's funny thinking back though. It's like they actually were in theaters, and I can't. What was it? There was the first movie.
Yep, there was Mewtwo Strikes Back.
That
movie
was
2000.
the first movie.
Yep. Movie 2000, Lugia.
Yeah.
Spell of the Unknown, the third one with Entei.
I never saw that one.
Then there was the one with Celebi.
I never saw that one either.
Then there was one with the fifth one was Latios and Latios.
The last one I saw was the Lugia one.
And then I can name all of them off right now, but I'm not going to bother.
I know there were a lot of them.
They're doing the 16th one.
Yeah. Just to put that into perspective.
There is one Pokemon movie released in Japan every year in July.
They have to play that in somewhere here in theaters. It has to be in one theater.
Maybe, but they go straight to DVD here.
We should hunt it down and go see it in theaters.
The original
NERDcast
Japanese one.
I think that would be awesome, but
Yeah, that would be pretty cool.
I don't think unless there's any more games you want to talk about. I think we've pretty much.
No, I've got nothing.
So those are the games that we're kind of looking forward to. So if there's any games that are coming out soon or within the range of the ones that we've talked about, then feel free to leave some comments on wherever, on our Twitter, on our YouTube, the video that's posted, on our website, or Facebook.
And listeners, we weren't kidding. Please tell us of any co-op games that you actually know about.
Yeah,
We're getting kind of desperate.
we need your help.
We can only Mass Effect for so long.
All we've done is give, and now we need to take just once. But yeah, I think that's pretty much it. I'm looking forward to Grand Theft Auto 5. It's already Game of the Year. We're not even going to have the podcast. It's official.
Ladies and gentlemen, Lee may or may not have jumped the gun. Just letting you know.
Well, Danny, we might be able to override him with Pokemon with a 2-1 vote.
Maybe.
Are we sensing some Nerdcast drama here?
Okay, alright, so I think we are all forgetting the obvious choice of Game of the Year.
Don't say
Lightning
South Park.
Returns, Final Fantasy 13.
No.
Damn it!
I'm not even going to let you use that as your actual candidate.
Alright, fine. Whatever you guys want, whatever.
You can vote on whatever game you think was the best, but I'm going to tell you right now, you think that that's not going to be the best. I jumped into your brain, and I read that part, so.
I actually haven't finished 13.2 yet either, so.
They actually had 13.2? So wait, there's Lightning Returns isn't 13.2?
No, Lightning Returns is technically 13.3.
Oh my god, what is this?
No, it's actually a sad story. 13 came out, and the story was pretty good. The story was pretty decent, but the gameplay sucked, as I've said. So 13.2 was much better gameplay-wise. They tried to fix a whole bunch of the stuff they had with gameplay problems, but the actual story was crap. And they also didn't like how it didn't focus on the main character of the first game, so now they're creating a third game to finish the Lightning Saga. Now, let me just put this into perspective for all the listeners out there who don't really follow Square Enix. They have made, since 2006, they have announced Final Fantasy 13, released that in 2010, released Final Fantasy 13-2 in 2012, and now we'll be releasing Final Fantasy 13-3 this year. What they don't seem to realize is that they announced Final Fantasy Versus 13 in 2006 at the same time as Final Fantasy 13, and it is now 7 years later. And we haven't even seen more than 20 minutes of gameplay of that game.
I feel like you're not actually going to get a Final Fantasy beyond 13. Like, I'm just going to be like, Final Fantasy 13-3-2.
No, this is the last game. This is the last game.
Could you imagine that if it were just like Final Fantasy 13 Part 2, Part 2?
No, because apparently they're announcing a new Final Fantasy game at this E3. At the PlayStation event, they announced the announcement for it.
And soon they're going to announce an announcement about the announcement.
Yo, dog, I heard you like announcements, so I put an announcement in your announcement so you can announce what you announce.
But no, what I'm hoping for at E3, and this is going to be the big thing I'm looking forward to, is they did the same thing with, at the same time as Versus 13 and 13. They also announced a game called Final Fantasy Agito 13. I don't know what these names stand for. I really don't. But they changed that name to Type 0. Like, Final Fantasy Agito 13 became Type 0.
So what game has had the most sequels to the single game? I know there was 10-2. And so is it going to be 13 that has the most sequels to the sequel?
I think so.
Wait, are you just talking about games?
No, Final Fantasy.
No, like, you're just talking about, like, Final Fantasy games?
Yeah, so, like, they have Final Fantasy 10-2. Do they have the one that's even more?
Final Fantasy 7. There was Before Crisis Final Fantasy 7, which was a mobile phone game. There was Crisis Core Final Fantasy 7, which was a PSP game. There was Final Fantasy 7 Advent Children, which was the movie. There was the game Final Fantasy 7, which was the original. There was a couple novellas that dealt with a few other characters. So no, Final Fantasy 7.
Man, it seems like this horse has been beaten into some sort of bloody pulp, decomposed into the ground.
Defense.
And there's just a grave marker where this horse was, and they now beat the ground where this horse now lied.
No, that is the case with any future Final Fantasy installment. What they've done with Final Fantasy 7 is actually pretty good, because the actual game, there was a whole lot of untold storylines in that game that could easily have been expanded, and they've done that. Like, I'll give you an example. In Crisis Core, Final Fantasy VII, the main character of that game was only in a flashback for 5 minutes in the original game, and they managed to create a whole game about him. And no, this is reality here. It was the best game, and it is probably one of the best Final Fantasy games I've ever played, because it was the best story in the entire series.
It would be like if they made Mass Effect, Nif to Call.
No,
The
but no,
Bionic
he
God.
actually had he was actually a huge plot. Like he was actually like a huge subplot because the main character Cloud at the beginning of 7 said he was an ex-soldier when really he was just like a simple infantryman. Now what happened was he was poisoned in the game. Like he was poisoned before the events of the game, and he had insane amnesia. But his friend Zack was killed by a bunch of Shinra soldiers, and then he basically took on his persona. And the entire story of Zack is told in Crisis Core, and it ties everything together that you don't already know, and it just makes so much sense. And it is the second best ending of a game, or tied for the best ending next to Journey.
No, you mean next to Mass Effect 3, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, of course. Absolutely, of course. But no, because what I've actually what Will and I've talked about is one of the great things about Journey is how at the end of the game it's
Don't
interactive.
spoil it. Shut up.
No.
Hit you.
I'm not spoiling the ending. It's just like you kind of get to play out the ending a little bit.
It's really cool.
You keep telling me, it was like, you gotta play this game, It'd be like if I was just like, you gotta play The Walking Dead, and it'd be like, all of a sudden, at the end, the zombies get up and they do they do a chorus line, and then...
I haven't ruined anything for you.
Apparently now he knows.
But no, the ending of Crisis Core is, like, you guys are never gonna play this game, right?
No, probably not.
Probably not.
Okay, so I'm totally gonna spoil the ending for you guys.
Spoiler alert.
Well, we've been... for a game that's how old? Or a movie,
Spoiler
or whatever
alert.
it is.
Well, like what happens is when a Cloud gets poisoned, Zack also gets poisoned as well, but because he's actually a soldier, he can withstand the poison. So he's put in like
Because
a test
logic.
tube. Yeah, pretty much. He's put in like a test tube and like experimented on for 4 years, and then he escapes with Cloud. And the last half of the game is him trying to get back to Midgar, so he can be with Aerith, who was the main female protagonist in the original game, who was killed, that everyone knows. So he's trying to get back to her. But at the very end of the game, he finally reaches Midgar, but he's been on the run from Shinra soldiers, and they gun him down at the very end of the game. But you get to play out the scene when he dies. And what sucks about what's so good about the story is that you know he's going to die in the end. You already know he's going to get shot down. It has to lead to the events of 7, but you actually hope that he can like survive. And in the end of the game, the actual like final battle in the game is you fighting off an endless wave of Shinra troops, and they just keep coming. There are some people who have played it for like 10 minutes just killing people, but you can't win.
Yeah, you're supposed to die. It reminds me
You're
of...
supposed to die,
and I don't want to...
don't want to die.
I don't want to say what game it is because it'll just immediately spoil it, but it's definitely... I can't even... It reminds me of a game that was awesome. One of the best games I've ever played, but I can't say what it is because it'll spoil it.
Walking Dead or Heavy Rain, isn't it?
No. It's another game.
Will I play it?
You should,
Then
and I
just tell
can't
me
say what it is. But
That sounds-
at a later date, I will recommend a game for you to play, or tell you to play it.
Just
you
tell me
should
what the
play it.
game is. You don't have to tell me the ending.
No, because that is the ending, pretty much.
That sounds like another game that Danny and I have both played.
Have I played it?
I don't think so.
What's the
Okay,
game?
then don't spoil it. Well, you see, when you say that, it's like, oh, the ending results in the character having to die
Like,
because of
Will,
this.
send
You
me a
can't
private message.
it's
and-
like-
Sure.
You can't say what
what
game
it
it is because it's like, that reminds me of this game. It's like, well, thanks, I don't need to play that anymore.
I'm going to send you one code word, Danny.
But,
you must interpret it.
But I think
You
that's
can
pretty
text
much
it to
it.
me. It's easier like that.
I know I am.
But yeah, I think that we should probably wrap this up. It's turned into the unofficial Final Fantasy cast.
Oh, Will, I see what you're doing.
Yeah.
But
Yep,
Yeah.
I know. Lee, the game that Will told us, you haven't played it. For the love of God, get on it.
well, tell me later on in a mix of other games, so I won't know how this.
Okay.
But yes, we need multiplayer recommendations. You should recommend that to us on one of our
Please.
various outlets.
I need somebody to
Follow
hold
us.
this over. I need somebody to hold me over till Destiny.
You can visit the NERDcast podcast, or the NERDcast, yeah.
Yes.
I always confuse our usernames. The NERDcastPodcast.com. So, and you can follow us at NERDcast Podcast on Twitter. And
Like us on Facebook at Nerdbook.
it's it's technically facebook.com/the NERDcast podcast. I'm pretty sure everything's on screen, so you can just see it there.
Yeah.
But anyway, thanks for listening or watching, and we'll see you next time.
Pray for
See
Square
ya.
Enix.